Welcome back, folks. 9:50 now on your Sunday morning. As we move into 2018, more people are announcing their candidacies for offices, and that includes attorney Fentrice Driskell, who just announced her intent to run for Florida House District 63, which includes Tampa. She is joining us here this morning. I want to thank you for coming in.
Good morning, Evan. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. I know that you are an attorney here in Tampa, and I want to talk to you about how you feel about some of the issues that are going on in the state and in the area right now. Last week, big news, obviously, for someone who is going to be your opponent. The incumbent, Republican Representative Sean Harrison, fired his aide, who claimed that some of the Stoneman Douglas survivors were actually paid actors. What's your reaction to that?
Well, in my opinion, Evan, our hearts really need to be with the students, and our support should really be with the students. So on that same day, the Florida House voted to not hear House Bill 219, which would have considered a ban on assault weapons. By the way, that's a ban that most Americans are in favor of, most Floridians are in favor of, and an overwhelming number of gun owners are in favor of. So for the House, and including Representative Harrison, to make that vote on the same day that those comments were made by his aide, we saw that there were guns being placed before our children.
Did he do the right thing in firing his aide?
Yes, I absolutely do believe that that was the right thing, and that it was the right thing to apologize to the Parkland students and to their families, although that apology was in a tweet, so not everybody has Twitter, but at least that was something to go, in the direction of those children and to say, we're sorry for what happened. Gun
control, obviously a big issue right now. Governor Scott introduced a big plan. What do you think about his plan specifically, and what should the legislature do?
Well, I do agree that at this time all options should be on the table, but one way that Governor Scott's plan falls short is that it doesn't address background checks, and we need to make sure that our background check system has all the information that it needs to make sure that guns don't fall into the hands of high-risk individuals. So there's more work that we need to do in the way of that plan.
How do you fix that problem? Because we saw that in a number of recent shootings where information wasn't getting to where it's supposed to be.
Well, I think one way to help is to make sure that there's sufficient time for the background checks. I think it's about 3 days now. Maybe there needs to be more time and more of a waiting period to make sure that we're doing the information that we need, and we need our systems to communicate with one another from the state level to the federal level. We need to make sure that everyone's on the same page to keep the guns out of hands of people who don't need them.
Okay. Transportation, a big issue for Tampa, one of your big issues. How would you improve it in the Bay Area and across the state?
Look, Evan, traffic is running people's lives. People have to leave earlier for work than they ordinarily would, and stay later at work than they ordinarily would, just to avoid traffic. And we're not as productive as we could be, or as efficient as we could be, when we have these traffic congestion problems. And it makes our region less competitive when corporations look to Tampa Bay as a potential place to relocate, and they see our traffic congestion problems and then decide, we'd pass. So we need to make our roads safer. I'm not confident that toll roads is the answer, but this is also a situation where we need to have all options on the table and try to find ways to ease these traffic congestion problems.
Public transportation?
In public transportation, yeah, that's a huge issue and concern, and we need to make sure that we're adequately funding it, and so that people can get, to and from work or go about their lives in the way that they need to.
You also want to drive down the cost of health care. You got about 30 seconds left. Any specific measures that you would take to do that and reverse the trend of rising prices?
Look, you're absolutely right, and we always need to make sure that our most vulnerable, including our seniors and children, have access to affordable health care. I do believe that it was a mistake for the state to reject the Medicaid expansion. It left 1 million fewer Floridians with health care coverage, and that winds up costing more into the entire system and to us all.
All right. Candidate for House District 63, Fentrice Driskell, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back, folks.